Another day, another live stream. What's up, everybody? Well, we've already got 3 people in here. That's awesome. How are you guys doing? So while we wait for people to fill in, I'm just gonna quickly talk about MycoSage. So thank you for everybody who's signed up. I know, like, if you guys have been watching the live streams for some time, because of the situation with the payment processor kicking out all my members, which I worked hard to get over a year. My payment processor pooped out, so basically I lost all my members. But thanks to you guys watching these live streams and supporting me on, MycoSage, I have been able to recover. Or actually, the funny thing is, most of the people who joined are actually new people. So I've actually been able to salvage plus add over half of the members that I lost. Disregarding the genetics tiers because I'm not doing it now. So thank you guys so much. We still have a couple of points left for, we still have a couple of coupon codes left, the Appalensis coupon codes, because I limited it to 100 people. So there's still a couple of 50% off coupons left if you guys would like to join, and hopefully for a couple of months, that would be great. So yeah, it's in the description, mycosage.com. Thank you guys. And whoa, we got a lot of people in here. What's up, Chris? Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Hey, Big Blue, what's up? It's been so long. Glad you could make it to the live. And what's up, Becky? Oh my God, I thought you were out for a few months. Well, actually, this is going to be the last live stream in quite a while because I am going to be leaving. I've already set the schedule this week, so I'm going to be leaving very soon. And I'm going to try to find time here and there to chat with you guys, but it's going to be pretty hectic when I get back. So I don't know if I'm going to have too much time to do live streams and stuff, but I would like to. What's up, David or Dave? Pointer to object. How's it going? I appreciate it, man. Thank you. What's up? What's up, Damon? Keenafi says, have you ever been cow patty mushroom hunting? It's fun in a different way. No, I haven't, but I have been in a horse manure pile mushroom hunting. That was a lot of fun. And be sure to smash that like, guys. By the way, we got 20 people in here, only 6 likes. I know we can do better than that. What's up, War King? How's it going? Pointer to object says, are those portobellos? Yes, these are portobello core lovers. Actually, African grass lovers. No, African core lovers. African core lovers. These are actually a squat mutation of them, which is really cool. And I want to get these genetics out to you guys. This is straight from a friend of a friend in South Africa. And they look really, really cool. Okra squats. Portobellos. Let me show you guys this really cool thing. I'm not going to open these guys up because I don't want them to be too obvious, but check it out. Look at those squats. They're so chunky, right? Like, look at that. Delicious. They're gonna make one family really happy once I sell it off at the farmer's market. Dave, it depends. So my email is for genetics, mentorship, and business inquiries. If it's like cultivation questions and stuff, that goes into mentorship, which is a paid service. If you're interested in it, hit me up and I'll send you the details. But I don't do private, if you want to chat with people, then go on the Discord server for that. Because I'm too busy. And I got a lot of volume of questions and things like that, which that's why the mentorship is there. Keenafi says, have you heard Paul Stanis talk about portobellos? Yes, the mushroom mafia, right? B. Jones says, I'm new to this and your vids have been helpful. Glad to hear that. Mark Mesa, what's up? You sound very, very familiar. Sage, happy to be here. Been following your videos for a while and I'm a subscriber of yours too. I'm a combat vet that has found this amazing medicine. Your videos help me grow and inspire me. Awesome, Mark. Yeah, you sound super familiar, like super nostalgic, honestly. I feel like it's been a couple of years since I've seen your name. Diggy Flocken says, what's up? What's up? Dave, check the description. And send me an email. So I guess you mean for the mentorship. Send me an email. It's in the description, and just say, "Hey, this is Dave. I want to inquire about the mentorship," and I'll send you the details then. So yeah, like mentorship is the one thing that I can be doing when I'm away. The time zone's going to be kind of funky, but we could try to make it work. And yeah, so mentorship, support yourself, support me. And obviously all the discount codes and stuff in the descriptions. And of course, Michael Sage, come join. I just posted a new video today, and I posted 3 YouTube re-uploads. Now, you might be wondering, why would I want to do that? Well, it's so that you guys can watch it without ads. You know, because some of my videos are longer, right? Like up to 20 minutes, sometimes more. So you're going to be able to watch it without ads for only, if you use the Apple Lenses code, $250 a month. And along with a bunch of other videos, like 87 non-YouTube videos exclusive to that website. Because I don't show fruits here. I don't show fruits here because it's kind of risky. I've had my old channel taken down for that. So if you want to support me and enjoy my content, then check it out. It's in the description. What's up, Fefe? Hey, Dustin, glad to hear that. Diggy Floggin says, "Is second flush more tasty?" Okay, so let's not use the P word. Okay, let's not use the P word. Use tasty. Second flush more tasty than the first flush? Not necessarily, but it's not to say that the inverse is true either. It's down to genetics. Susan says, "Hello, Sage's mentorship was excellent." Awesome, Susan. Thank you, thank you. Glad to see you here. What's up, Trav? Joe Dog says, "This is gourmet chat, bro." Exactly, exactly. Tasty is awesome, Diggy. Rebecca says, "Smash the like." Yes, smash that like. Check it out, guys. This is wild lemon balm, or I should say feral lemon balm. I found a patch in a meadow in a park that was just full of these huge lemon balm plants that I've never seen them so big. And it was massive. It was incredible. And yeah, Chris, I did. I added, I think 4 or 5 so far. I uploaded 3 a couple days back. So yeah, if you the video vault is super easy to navigate. It's got all the categories there for anybody. I know, Chris, you know, but for anybody listening, you know, if you want like poo lover content, if you want grass lover content, if you have a specific strain that you want to see stuff on, you can check if I've done it before, and then you can watch all the videos on there. So it's a real nice website. So, but in terms of the this thing, in terms of the lemon balm, so I was picking them, right? Because I went out to forage for nettle and lemon balm because I found this place. I scouted this place, and so I went there and I was picking them, and it was like, started smelling really weird. Started smelling like pee. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I hope people aren't peeing here. And then this guy came. It was like a party in the park. And then this guy came. He was like, oh, I'm just going to be peeing in the corner over there. I was like, oh, yeah, sure, go ahead. And I was like, oh, that explains it. But he wasn't peeing on the lemon balm. It was like a different bush. So, but yeah, that like, and a bunch of other people went there and started peeing. But I'm not too worried because, I mean, they're not peeing on the lemon balm, obviously, but it is in proximity. And A, I think maybe that's why they're growing so well. But B, there may be some concerns about like health. Who knows? Maybe somebody's drunk and they pee on the plants. So this is where it really comes in clutch. HOCL. I have an HOCL generator, and I encourage all of you guys to use that. I use it instead of alcohol. Have used it instead of alcohol for the last 2 years. I got a good affiliate link for that. But HOCL will clean vegetables and fruits and things like that. So I just gave it a good rinse, and then I also gave it a good water rinse, you know, 2 to 3 times to really clean it, and it's all good to go. You know, I got so much lemon balm. Lemon balm is great. You know, if you got like an upset stomach, when the taste experience is coming on, it also calms you. It's like nature's Valium in a sense. So I do recommend it. Chris says, dude, oh yeah, I already read that. Haji, what's up, Haji? I was actually thinking about sending you a message because I haven't heard from you in a while. I haven't seen you over the last couple of live streams, so I'm really happy to see you, Billy. Blood Doll says, any tips or videos focusing on recognizing contamination within agar plates? want to start with syringes and agar first to get rid of any contamination before injecting. Thoughts? So I think that's a very good plan. Definitely a good plan. But if it's your first time, I recommend going the route of a liquid culture, because that's like very, very available nowadays. It's not like a couple years ago. I got a great affiliate for that. ITW, use the code mycophilia for 10% off. They call it isolated syringes. And the reason I recommend that is because it's super clean and it's very, very good, robust genetics that have been curated by professionals. So like it changes the game for beginners because you don't have to worry about spores and all of that. Now, but to more directly answer your question, I do not have a video necessarily directly dedicated to finding contamination on agar plates. Having said that, in various videos, I do show plates and I talk about, okay, this is like a good idea of like how it's contaminated, but I can't tell you like exactly which ones because there's so many videos like that where I just go through agar, especially on the video vault. Whoa, Chris, thank you so much, man, for your PayPal donation. It was super, super generous. Thank you. Oh my God. You're amazing, man. Slonk Gang Weed says, have you had any experience with morels? No, I have not. I have not had any experience. Guys, be sure to smash that like. We got 37 people in here and only 20 likes. I know we can do better than that. I know we can do better than that. Fefe says, I'm trying your casing recipe, going awesome in third flush. I've noticed more erect fruits. Thanks for that advice. Awesome. Glad to hear it's working out. B. Jones says, is HOCL toxic? No, not as toxic as alcohol. And your body naturally produces HOCL, but the concentration is the key. And also, there's like a lot of chemistry involved with like whether it's going bad or not and what it can break down into in certain circumstances. But if you just basically make up a batch, all you need to do is take the water and then you just need to add 1 gram of salt, like sea salt, non-iodized salt, and you just have to wait, and boom, you got a batch. I like to run the machine twice to get twice the concentration, and that's perfect. And then just use it within a week. And if you have some left over after a week, dump it and make a new batch. If you use it like this, then you're going to run into no problems at all. Now, I wouldn't drink it, but you can and you won't die. It's not like alcohol, but I wouldn't recommend it either, especially at that kind of concentration. But it is used to clean vegetables and produce professionally. If you want to keep it a little bit more stable, you could add like a teaspoon of vinegar into your container, and it'll keep it stable, the pH stable, for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I wouldn't go past it. It's probably fine for a little longer, but 2 weeks. But what's the point when it's so cheap and easy to make once you have a machine? So yeah, that's what I recommend. But you got to make sure though that you keep it in an airtight bottle and a dark bottle, preferably. So because those things are gonna start, making them degrade, and you could start getting some weird stuff. But nothing like, if you use the machine that I was talking about, it's like nothing really, really like super dangerous or anything like that. Worst case scenario, it could start turning a little bit into a weaker solution of bleach, but that's like within certain circumstances. I've been meaning to make a video for a while on it, and I will. Gotcha, Becky. Yeah, it should be live for a little bit, so maybe I might still be online. Nathan H says, can't wait to use your swabs, perfecting my agar right now. Awesome, Nathan. Glad to hear that. Blood Doll says, thank you for the in-depth response, Sage. Very insightful. I will look again at your vids. We'll look for those isolated syringes, hoping I can find the fungi I'm searching for. Yeah, absolutely. You could just use the link in the description. It'll take you to the site, and the discount code will be automatically applied. Big Blue says, it has been scientifically proven that hitting the like button produces full canopies and reduces contams. Yes, it is absolutely the case. I mean, look at these chonkers. Your likes are fueling them. Portobello's. B. Jones says, I'll check out the HOCL generator. Not something I've heard of before, but sounds neat. Yeah, just check out the supplies list that I have in the description. On there, I have a link to a good HOCL generator in addition to a discount. Because not all HOCL generators are the same. If you buy cheap, oftentimes it's making bleach. And it's also creating like nasty stuff that you don't want. You could also find heavy metal concentrations in there. And I actually exposed I don't know if I can call it a scam, but it's sort of a false advertising on Amazon, where people were selling these HOCL generators for super cheap that you just put inside a cup, and you put like 2 grams of salt for this little bit, and they were saying it's HOCL, but what you were really making was bleach. And a couple of people in my community were using that and advertising, and I was like, guys, this is not making HOCL. This is bleach. So yeah, so the companies that were selling that are actually now properly saying that it's for bleach, not HOCL. Leo React says, hey Sage, I'm new to the channel, but your content is great. Can you bump where to find your affiliate link again? Yep, in the description. Oh yeah, Leo says he already found it. Awesome. Mark Mesa says, I use my machine to make a fresh batch of HOCL every time I do my lab work. There you go. I mean, that's the best way to get the freshest, safest HOCL. Blood Doll says, wondering if anyone has heard of a certain fungi called syzygy. It was probably just someone who named it themselves, but I missed it. Yeah, it was Terence McKenna. It's believed to be from Terence McKenna. Paul, what's up, Paul? Hey, Sage, good to see you live again. You may have just covered this, but how can you tell if HOCL isn't active anymore? You're gonna have to take a pH test. That's a good, easy way to do it. I recommend getting a pH strip meter at least, so that you could know whether your HOCL is mostly HOCL. Because as it degrades, it's gonna, some of the bleach stuff might come in, or some other things could happen depending on the conditions you keep it in. Some dumb guy says, everyone talks about the halo being around the mycelium on agar as embedded bacteria. Is it possible it's just young growth? I find that oftentimes it's not just embedded, it's not necessarily embedded bacteria. Sometimes it's due to the nutrient mix in the agar. I think I've already told you that before. But for embedded contams, you also, like, that alone will not be like, okay, this is definitely embedded contams. It's when it's growing all uneven and there's like weird bumps. And for example, the consistency of the fluffy part, they might be just like a ball of fluffy, like off to the side, like a satellite, and then the rest is just smooth. And then there might be just a little ball of fluffy here, that kind of thing. Those kinds of things, inconsistency is a cause for concern. Or if it's just growing like this, but then it's like there's like a big V in there, and for whatever reason nothing is growing there, that's also a big sign. Exposing on Reality says, I had a little cotton ball of mycelium grow on the portobello mushrooms I'm growing. I raked and shaked it. Is it going to be okay? Also, I think I got some contaminants on the bag. Big deal or no? If you got contaminants, it's kind of a big deal. I mean, depending on the kind of contaminants, you might be able to get a flush, but it's going to eventually mold out. A little cotton ball of mycelium is no problem at all. But I don't know how you're going to break and shake something that's already fruiting. Kinafi says, do you know if wild mushrooms have a different, again with the P word, remember, use taste than human grown ones. Not really. It's also arguable that human grown ones are actually tastier because they're not sitting out in the sun all the time. Nathan H says, I love the size of the swabs you send out. Makes it much easier. Awesome, glad to hear that. It's basically the size of the swabs really depends on the size of the order and whether it's tracked shipping or not tracked. So if it's tracked, then I can put them full size. But if you order, for example, like 4 swabs or something, or 3 swabs, then I'm gonna have to crack 2 to 3 of them. or 4 if it's 4 swabs. Mark Mesa says, buying my HOCL generator was a game changer for me. I had low contam rate to begin with, but with this has pretty much brought my count down to the point where I don't remember the last time I had tam problems. There you go. Yeah, HOCL is really awesome. By the way, guys, we got 30 likes in here. I know we can do better than that. Let's get it up, guys. Let's get it up. If you're enjoying this live stream, it would really help out this channel. Luigi says, I came back from a 4-day vacation to 3 of my tubs having trike and with green on one of them. I cleaned everything in my tent with 1 to 10 bleach water and some 70% alcohol. Is there a way to move forward? So it's in a tent. Okay, that's a little tougher to clean out. Yeah, honestly, it's a tough one. I would recommend HOCL. I would recommend spraying the crap with HOCL. It's more effective than bleach. And alcohol is not really going to do anything for trike spores because alcohol mainly gets bacteria and stuff, not really mold. HOCL will get mold spores pretty much immediately, you know, almost on contact. Alcohol, for like bacteria and stuff, it takes, they say, you know, up to like 30 seconds. Peroxide takes like 15 minutes. I can't remember how long bleach takes. HOCL though, it's literally seconds. B. Jones says you're looking for asymmetry for embedded. Yep, that's definitely a big one. Nathan says, what's that rare bacteria that is pink? I think I have some rare bacteria that's pink. I don't know. Pink bacteria. I don't think I've had pink bacteria. Jude Ritter says, hey Sage, I spawned to bulk my first grow on the 13th and I have a good pin set. So I think it will just be a few more days. I'm so excited. You were a big help. Awesome, Jude. Congratulations. If you're already getting pens, then you're definitely going to get fruits. Sweet Blue Buggerall says, hi, Sage. I'm sure. Yo, Bill from next door. Thank you for the PayPal donation. Thank you so much, man. Always. Good to see ya. Hi, Sage. Oh, yeah. Sweet Blue says, hi, Sage. I'm sure you have heard about using mosquito dunks to control fungus gnats. Mind sharing your thoughts on the topic? Yes, it is the best way to get rid of gnats. In your tubs and your grows and stuff, because it's going to kill the larva and it's not going to hurt the mycelium. And it is it's a natural way to deal with it and the most effective. I don't know if that's what you wanted to know. YZMX says, with low airflow, you get fuzzy feet. How do you prevent this? More fanning the tub, more holes for airflow? You know, I wouldn't worry about fuzzy feet, but I will worry about it if your stems are actually elongating. If they're like getting all noodly and long, then I would worry about it because it's not 100% correlation that the cause of the fuzzy feet is because of low FAE. You know, genetically, that is a cause. You know, you can have wild fruits that have fuzzy feet, but they got all the FAE that they need. Owen says, love your videos, very helpful. Awesome. And by the way, guys, check out MycoSage. That's my website. Got 90 videos up there right now. I just uploaded a new one today. And I'm re-uploading all the YouTube videos on there as well because you can watch them ad-free. And everything's categorized. There's all my fruiting stuff is there because I don't show my fruiting stuff on YouTube. That's, if you guys noticed, I don't show fruits on here. That's not a coincidence. It's because YouTube is very, very anal about that stuff. I lost my old channel for that. So it's only $2.50 if you use the code Applensis at checkout. So check it out, MycoSage website in the description. So where were we? Steve Seattle says, is there a non-shady HOCL device? Yes, Steve. Check in my description. Go to the supplies list. And on the supplies list, there's a link to an HOCL, the most trusted commercial HOCL vendor. There's other vendors so that you might be able to find cheaper. But the thing is, the electrolysis coil, I guess you could say the metal, is made of, crap, what was it made of? Not tungsten. It's made of, what's that really light metal that doesn't corrode? I know somebody knows it. Post in the chat. What was it called? My brain's pooping out on me right now. I feel like it started with a T, but maybe not. Titanium, yes, it's made of titanium. It's made of titanium. So that means, and because of the fact that HOCl, after time, it's going to turn into brine, aka salty water, and that stuff is going to corrode metal. So that's the one downside of HOCl, but it's pretty strong against. Well, actually, I don't want to say it's pretty strong against stainless steel because my stainless steel scalpel is like just full of rust from HOCl. Doesn't bother me, but it might bother you. That's one of the downsides. It will rust out your metals. But the other ones are, if they're good ones, even if they make HOCl, oftentimes if they're cheaper, it's because the electrolysis coil is stainless steel. So. All right, now where were we? Okay. Awesome, Becky. Got me on the big screen. So Mark Mesa says, with a tent, I would recommend filling the humidifier with HOCl. Yes, I was thinking about recommending that, but I've never actually personally done it, so I was kind of, I didn't really want to recommend something I haven't tried, but yeah, I hear people do that as well. Kinafi says, but if you pick them right when veil breaks, they're pretty tasty. May to August is great. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you could find some really tasty stuff out there for sure. And I think there's something really magical about getting something from the wild. Kona says, how long would you run a 3-pound grain bag in an electric cooker for? 3 hours. Big Gnome says, hello. What's up, Big Gnome? Chris says, lipstick mold is pink. Yep. That's lipstick mold is pretty bad news. B. Jones says you can buy industrial strength cleaner. I forgot the brand, but I used it when working in an ISO 5 clean room to clean the flow hoods. I recommend that. Let it sit for a minute before wiping dry. Big Gnome says, so how can I make a mini fridge into a wood lover fruiting chamber, mainly ventilation? What's that guy's name? There's a guy in the Esmery who's pretty much the pioneer of this technique. It was Hollow something. Hollow something. He's the wood lover guy for if you want to grow them in fridges. Holofractal? It might have been Holofractal. Mark Mesa says, Sage, I'm getting ready to use the Poo BRF tech. Awesome, for some Poo lovers for a little FAFO project. Real excited for it. I'm excited for you too. That's I'm glad somebody is trying out that tech because it's a really cool tech. Again, I recommend using modified PF cake recipe. So in adding brown rice rather than the way I did it, which was just pure compost, because you're gonna get a good flush, first flush, but then later on it's just literally nothing. Porter says, can I fruit from a substrate brick less than an inch thick? I use 3 pounds of CBG to do 2 pints of spawn in separate tubs, so about 1.5 pounds of substrate per tub. 1 inch is very, very thin. Less than 1 inch, that's really thin. I mean, yeah, but it's going to be pretty shitty. Dave says, how do you fix overlay? You know, overlay is something that you really shouldn't be getting. So if you have an overlay with core lovers, then it's not something that they naturally do. It's what they do in response to stress. So get rid of the stress, which is mostly just bacteria or some kind of contaminant that's causing it. So find out where in the process you're getting that. Hey, Chris, welcome aboard to the Mycophiles. Welcome aboard to MycoSage. Hope you enjoy the videos, man. So yeah, basically fix your sterile technique or your inoculant, or find the cause of your contams, and then you won't have overlay anymore. And smash that like, everybody. Let's get it up. Let's get it up. Jeff says, what's your favorite albino strain? Don't really have one, honestly. I don't have one. Mark Mesa says, increase your FAE for overlay. Paul says, definitely sign up at MicroStage. It will change your life, and it's so inexpensive. Great content, and you get to see things you won't regret it. I appreciate you, Paul. Thank you, thank you. Big Gnome says, also, can I go from full rhizo agar to wood sub or need grain with exo? I don't know what exo is. I have a project working blue umbo and fifth wave, the black cap. Is there a way to pull Geno from agar fruits to promote a mono? Full rhizo agar to wood sub. I mean, why would you go to a wood substrate? Firstly, if it's something that's not a wood lover, unless you're talking about wood lover. I don't know. You're sorry, man, but your question's a little all over the place. I don't really know what you're. Yeah. Becky says, I literally had to make a fruit box on the fly, 6 small holes with fiber fill, and set it in the window after misting. Yeah, those are often the fun ones. Bill from next door says, some of them just let the overlay be unless it gets extreme, in my opinion. Bill says, I prefer obsidian. I got some obsidian. Big Gnome says, or any size to recommend on DIY fruiting of exo wood lovers wavy. Again, man, as I said, check out Holotype or whatever his name was on the Esmery. Just type in like fruiting wood lovers fridge in Google and then add in Esmery and you should find it. Holofractal, that's the guy. Luigi R says, I don't use a humidifier for the tent, though I will be looking into the HOCL. I don't want to give up on the hobby because of Trike. Looking at the HOCL site, there are many options. Is there a good start? Pretty much any of the generators that fits your budget. I got the classic big one that makes like 1.5 plus liters of HOCL at once. But if you're just making it for your spray bottle, then you could buy one of the smaller ones. Whoa, Natasha, thank you so much. I didn't get a notification for your super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And just for future reference, for anybody who's generous enough and supportive enough to want to donate, please check the link in the description for my PayPal link because YouTube takes 30% of all super chats. And just a reminder, guys, I'm going to be going away soon, so this is the last live stream for some time. I forgot to mention that. I'm not mentioning that enough, I don't think. Where were we? Porter Sherman says, can I add a casing layer and hope for it to expand, or if it's fully colonized as it is, should I go for it? Hope for it to expand. Hope for what to expand? You just put a casing layer once the substrate's pretty much fully colonized, at least 80% colonized. That's all you gotta do. Yeah, Big Gnome, just check out the stuff that I told you about. B. Jones says, how long is too long to wait for mycelial growth after liquid culture inoculation? Just to see the mycelium growth, not full colonization. I mean, it should just take a couple days, you know, maybe within 5 days you should have very visible growth. And I've already caught up to chat. It's crazy. Luigi R says, do you have any opinions on the inflatable monotub? Yeah, just don't. You just get a shoebox or a regular monotub. It's easier to clean. You don't have a chance of there making any holes. It's cheaper. You don't have to order it. You could just go to the store and get it. I mean, I really don't understand the pros of an inflatable monotub. It's like a downgrade compared to just a regular old tub. And also because of the inflatable nature, it's more difficult to clean because it's got all the folds, right? A lot more places where things can get stuck, contaminants. So over time, I would imagine your chance of contamination would also start to increase if you're not cleaning it really, really well. if it doesn't pop before then. Chris says it's a gimmick. Okay, it's a gimmick. Like flat out, it's a gimmick. Chris says, any chance you can explain how embedded bacteria happens? Basically, it's like if you have like dirty stuff, it's a very basic explanation, but basically if your spores have been around dirty things, then dirty things can hitch on to your spores in a deeper way, and that's basically how it happens. They just sort of hitch on there. So for example, if you don't dry out your spore print completely before you store it inside a plastic bag, that is a ripe recipe for embedded contaminations. Irvin Diaz says natties can take like a day or two. Big Gnome says I made text by the way as you were talking before it got me going. Brandon Rath says any recommended spore suppliers? Yes, check in the description. As I always say, check in the description. 10% off at Inoculate the Word World with the code Mycophilia at checkout. And I highly recommend their isolated syringes. Their isolated syringes are epic. Rather than spore syringes. Spore syringes like the same with every other vendor, but the isolated syringes, they're the original guys who started selling liquid culture, and they got really, really good cultures. Clean and very, very effective. Good genetics. All right, I just got news of a referral order for a HOCL generator. Congratulations to whoever purchased it, and thank you for using my code. You're supporting yourself and supporting me at no cost. Let's see. Luigi says that you're absolutely right. It does seem like that it's a high risk item. Thanks. What were we talking about again? Oh yeah, inflatable monitor. Yeah. Rusty Shackleford says, "Hi, thanks for your live chat. I have my first tub of PE going. You know, you're like the fourth Rusty Shackleford that's popped up in my community. I know it's a King of the Hill, Dale reference, but yeah, it's kind of hard to keep track. I knew it was a different Rusty Shackleford because you said it's your first tub. First tub of PE right now, and I'm not going too well. All pens are deformed and have some white blobs too. Why? Well, that's a good thing because that's how PEs are. So it means that they're going well. That's just what they do. If you want to reduce the chances of them doing that, then you're going to need to apply a true casing layer. But by around the second flush, you're going to stop having those kinds of weird mutants, generally. B. Jones says, tomorrow is day 5 and I got nothing. It's my first attempt, so I don't know. Maybe bad LC, but it was from a reputable supplier. Yeah, that's weird. Maybe it got hurt in the shipping if it gets too cold or too hot. But you also need to like shake it pretty well but before you inject it. But that is weird. What's up, Mallory? Big Gnome says, what's the best way to dry prints? Can you do it in a dehydrator? No, don't do it in a dehydrator. Just do it in a still air box or in front of a fan filter unit or flow hood. Just leave it there for a couple minutes. Or if you have like a lot of water droplets on it because it was a really wet cap, for example, then just leave it until you don't see any water droplets. Lost Mayhem says, cheers, bro. It's crazy how much information you've shared. It's appreciated very much so. Thank you, Lost Mayhem. And let's see. Nicole Stewart says, does the flies lay eggs on substitute? I guess substrate. Yeah, on the substrate, they're going to lay it. Rebecca says, okay, so it wasn't liquid culture syringe into the bag. It took a very long time to turn white, like months. I just put it to fruit. I thought that I would be tossing it, but nope, it's a few days. Luigi R says, just bought 2 HOCL generators, one for myself and one for my mother to use. Thanks for the recommendation. Awesome, Luigi. You're going to love it. Natasha says 30% noted. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you. You're so sweet. Luigi R says, I hope you got an affiliate. Yes, I did. Thank you. Fefe says, what about spore swabs? Do you have advice to dry it before seal? I used to, but then I realized that, wait a minute, these packages are paper, so they're gonna automatically dry out, you know? But if they're really wet, it doesn't hurt to dry them out either. Kinafi says, Sage, when I go on a trip, I notice my hair sticks up in a weird way, and what's crazy is my cat's hair does too, and he acts like he's on a trip too. I've tested this enough to be a fact. I've heard of that a lot, man. I've heard of that a lot. But I always say, like, my hair gets like really, really nice afterwards. And people say, oh, that's just placebo, is because your perceptions change. But I feel like it's like genuinely, it's different. It feels softer and silkier. like biologically, I feel healthier, you know, because like the mind certainly does affect. It's not just the mind; it affects everything. You know, the mind affects the body, and vice versa. So yeah, definitely, I feel like yeah, cats can definitely also like sense that stuff. Animals. Justin Langstaff says, first grow, but I finally have fruits. I did get trike somehow, but just been cutting it out of the cake every day. Spraying some hydrogen peroxide on it. My question is, can I still eat the fruits? If it's not been on the fruits, then yes. If you're not like allergic, you know, to fungi, obviously. Cold chain, I don't know what that means. Justin Langstaff says the mush are away from where the trike is, but I want to at least, okay, yeah, you're going to be good. You can eat it. B. Jones says, I'm not a doctor though, so I take no responsibility. But, you know, people do it all the time. Trike is not too harmful to healthy humans. B. Jones says it was pretty warm the day it got delivered, but not above 90. I have more in the way, so maybe re-inoculate same grain or maybe start over. Kind of a waste of money, throw away 2 bags. Yeah, I mean, you could try it again, certainly. Whoa, I caught up the chat again. Sign up on MycoSage. That's my website. I still got a few people can still use the coupon code Applensis at checkout. If you go on the website, you're going to see the Applensis code. You're going to get 50% off, only $250 for 90 videos, most of them exclusive. What are you waiting for? Richard Editor says, I have a strain of core lovers in the same shoebox, and some are more tasty than others. Okay, again with the P word, let's use the T word instead, the tasty word, instead of the P word. I have a strain of core lovers in the same shoebox, and some are more tasty than others. Would you know why this happens? Yes, it's just genetics, the genetic lottery. Every you know, especially if you're going for multi-sport, it's all sorts of different strains with different tastes and different taste, double taste. You know, all meanings of the word taste, one literally and one figuratively, through a single shoebox. Bob Ferris says, what's in the box? By the way, all 3 of my FGL boxes contaminated after casing. Oh, gotta try longer in the Instant Pot. Sorry to hear that, Bob. So over here, we've got some okra squat okra mutations, which are really, really cool because they're pretty rare, as you can see. Very nice portobellos. Okra portobellos that I got from a friend of a friend. Justin Langstuff says, awesome, thanks so much for your help. I hope it doesn't happen next time, but what would you recommend other than peroxide, because it didn't seem to work very well? I don't recommend peroxide. As I said, HOCL. HOCL, HOCL. And peroxide is not going to do anything for trike. Oh, you mean for, okay. So you're talking about like fighting contamination. You can't do that. It doesn't work. They're always going to lose. This is not nature. This isn't a very, very almost sterile. And by sterile, I don't mean clean, but like just biodiversity wise, it's very sterile compared to how it is in nature, with everything working in tandem to limit contaminations and stuff. So, yeah, basically, prevention is your only way. You got to find out why they're contaminating in the first place and fix that, because you won't win a fight against contamination, especially mold. Bob Ferris says, cool, I remember those squats when you had them on Agar. Yeah. They actually fruited pretty well. Even though they're contaminated, they are contaminated, but they still fruited because they came from a paper print. Chris says, I had to take a break from taste testing. Down tolerance happens quickly. Luigi says, oh, I also want to thank you for your Instapot video. It has made my work so much better and easier when letting the Instant Pot do its thing. Heck yes. I also wish they would sponsor you. Thanks, Luigi. I wish so too. They didn't even give me an affiliate code. I applied for an affiliate code and they're like, no. I mean, honestly, they should honestly be cashing in on like the mushroom, community, because yeah, they got like, people like me promoting them, and they are genuinely a good product for home mycology. Like they're the perfect home mycology all-in-one, safe pressure cooker. Even if you're a beginner, you don't have to worry about, oh my God, it's rattling so much. Am I doing everything okay? Is it gonna run out of water and all that kind of stuff? What if I fall asleep? Instant Pot is just so easy, and you could also pasteurize with it too. It's just amazing. YZMX says, when you get fuzzy feet and you harvest, do you try to clear off that mycelium from the substrate, or will the second flush be able to pin up through it? Oh no, you could just leave it there. Just leave it there. Second flush will make space. Mushrooms are really good at making space. I mean, some of them come up out of concrete. B. Jones says, I'm going to expand my liquid culture so I can control the quantity of mycelium going into the grain. I do think the first liquid culture was a little light on the thick white gooey stuff. Cobra Bull says, hi Sage, I was wondering, what is the best way to store your favorite types of mycelium for longevity and future use? I use cold water storage just because I'm lazy and I don't want to make slants, but you can make slants as well. Slants honestly it takes more effort to make, but it's easier to keep, because you can move it around and stuff once you have made them. But honestly, because the thing is, I don't really work with cultures anymore because I'm not doing this like as a hobby now. I try to find, some cool, interesting stuff to show you guys. So I always go from multispore, and I'm not like, a farmer or anything like that. I teach people how to farm, but I myself am not a farmer. So I think that's why I don't really mess around with long-term storage of cultures. Chris says even the best gets contamination. Absolutely. It's just a part of the game. And a lot of people have good luck at first. They're not going to have contamination, and then once they get contamination, then it's like in your life. That was my story, at least. I didn't get contamination for many, many grows. So I was hoping for contamination. I was hoping for trike, and yeah, I've gotten plenty of it since. So be careful what you wish for. And smash that like button, guys. Smash it. Let's get it up. Brent says, is Uncle Ben the easiest method? In my opinion, it's the hardest method. Block says, if I'm getting side pins, should I remove the block and try to fruit from all sides? But it is the laziest method, so you might not have the consistency of the results might not be consistent, but the barrier to entry is the lowest. I don't even know about that, because you got to spawn to bulk still. It's just the grain part that you gotta mess with. So I guess it's arguable. Block says, if I'm getting side pins, should I remove the block and try to fruit from all the sides? Wow, you got an ample name for your question. His name is Block. If I'm getting side pins, should I remove the block and try to fruit from all sides? I wouldn't. I would just focus on, like, okay, so because here's the thing. Two scenarios. The first is you're getting side pins because your fruiting conditions is not proper. In that case, watch my video, proper surface conditions for fruiting. It'll tell you how the top should go, so should look so that it will come from the top. And but on the other point, so my point is you should fix that, okay? You can easily harvest side pins, at least if it's not a mono tub. But the other point is that what was I gonna say? Basically, I forgot what I wanted to say. My second point, it was a good point. Oh yeah, the other point is that some strains, even within the same species, are just much more hardier and have a much more tolerance for poorer fruiting conditions, and they'll just fruit wherever there's a surface. You know, whereas others, if you provide the good conditions, then they'll all come out on top, nice and uniform, and you get no side pins. Other ones, they just don't care. They just grow anywhere. And that has nothing to do with the surface conditions and stuff like that. It's just genetics. So I won't worry about side fruits and bottom fruits. Just harvest them because they're going to grow anyways. Big Gnome says, how's your day? I hope you guys are having better weather than us and PA. Yeah, my day was awesome. I went through a long scooter ride, getting ready to leave, cleaning and everything. Chris says, when you get discharged, just realize Sage even gets contamination. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Luigi R says, what is your setup? Are you in a closet? Do you have chambers? Yeah, I got a JCM fruiting chamber. Just check out my my video vault videos if you want to know, like, you know, like down to the detail what I'm doing, because all the stuff is documented on there. But shoeboxes primarily, but I also have a JCM automated chamber. Harvest Rain Homestead, and this is just a bedroom. Harvest Rain Homestead says, I have a PC because I can food. What? I have a PC because I can food. Oh, I thought I was like, I can food. Okay, I have a PC because I can food. But I switched to using an Instant Pot, so much less fussy. Absolutely, exactly, right? Like, and the thing is, the thing that bothers me is that in this hobby, for whatever reason, people always encourage you to buy the biggest thing for like beginners when all they want is just like, you know, a couple grams of shiitake or oysters or what have you. You know, they just want to have a little bit for themselves and their friends and their families, maybe. But then they're like, oh yeah, you should buy the 23 quart Presto Instapot. That's huge. That's massive. Not everybody has that much space. Not everybody needs to be doing tons of monotubs at a time. You know, I don't understand why shoeboxes, for example, are not the main tech because honestly, like it's a perfect balance of size and yield. You know, you get the benefits of bulk and a smaller form factor. I could get like, you know, 60 grams dried of good stuff, maybe maybe a little less, but you know, around that ballpark if it all goes well. So like, why do we need monotubs? Like lots and lots of monotubs. It doesn't make any sense to me. Where was I? Kinafi says, but I hit the Benjamin Franklin. Justin says, I think the problem was I only waited 12 days for the bin to colonize before moving the lid and putting into fruiting conditions. Next time, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, you think? I waited 12 days for the bin to colonize before removing the lid. Okay, so just don't worry about fruiting conditions, and it's all just growing conditions. You could put it straight to fruiting conditions from the beginning. That's what I do oftentimes. You don't have to worry about it. There's literally practically no difference. In nature, they don't, you know, differentiate, right? Oh, but okay, so it wasn't in fruiting or it wasn't in growing conditions. Yeah. Basically, wait 5 days once it's fully colonized, then just flip the lid. Harvest Rain says, I'll clarify, I switched to using an Instant Pot for mycology work, not canning. Right on. Brent says, why would Uncle Ben's been the hardest? Because you have the least control of it, of the whole process. The grains themselves, Uncle Ben, way too wet, and also you can't see how it's going. So you could, you could open it and find a bunch of contamination. So that's the reason, and you'll never really know when it's fully colonized either. Chris says, dude, happened to me same way, had awesome few grows, then bam, I was like, F this. It's a rite of passage. Lol William says, I just spawned a bulk in a small monotub 2 days ago. So far, so good. Should I keep misting the surface after the initial misting? And should I keep misting the dome? Okay, so don't miss the dome. Watch my video, proper surface conditions for fruiting. You'll see the info there. Fefe says, now I want an HOCL generator, no shipping to my country, going to find one. Rebecca says, with multispore syringes, how can you tell which genetics pop? You can't. I mean, it's just like, it's not like it's categorized or anything like that, right? It's just a bunch of random spores meeting and mating, and you know, that's pretty much all that's going on. Keeper said, what's up, Beekeeper? Greetings from behind the screen. Greetings to you too, Beaker, from behind the screen. Seeing Dao says, every time I do Petri dishes, I get contamination. I'm using glass dishes. Luigi says, is light important in fruiting? And if it does it affect green spawn negatively? No, it doesn't affect green spawn, but it's not important. It's not important. I just use ambient light, you know, ambient room light. I don't even have a room light, honestly. It's just like if it's lights coming in through the window, that kind of thing. Now, technically, light of the 5K spectrum, aka blue light, is actually does actually increase the robustness of your mushrooms, but it's not necessary at all. Chris says, laugh my ass off, or a FFU, or a 10, or every other cool thing. Whoa, what was that in regards to, was it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, exactly. Yeah, I remember. So you're probably talking about like how people are like, you got to get a 23 quart Presto and just like get like the maximum size of all this stuff. Yeah. It's like, you don't need a fan filter unit or a tent. But like doing mentorship, I have so many students who began the mentorship because they weren't having any success after having spent, some of them spent thousands of dollars on all this kits and equipment and stuff, not even like exaggerating, like thousands of dollars. And they're like, I'm at my wit's end. I've done all this, and I'm like, okay, just forget everything that you learned and let me lead you through step by step exactly what you need to do and why you need to do it and why it works and why that doesn't work. Because I want people to have the building blocks to be able to figure this stuff out in the future. I want to give people the tools. So this is a great CM for the mentorship. Hit me up, mycophilia.official@gmail.com for inquiries. And while I'm away, I am going to be doing mentorship still because that's pretty much one of the only things that I can do to amass funds for my trip while I'm away. And because I'm not going to be doing the genetics tier now for like 4 months. Well, I mean, like, including this month. Where was I? Mott High Bar says, my place is 34 to 35 degrees Celsius. Can I use ice to lower the temp in a box to grow ape? 34 to 35, that should be fine. That'll be fine. You don't need to use any ice. Nick Rico says, Shoebox fruiting, not best surface conditions since I leave for work. Can't miss. Bubble wrap on top of mycelium has helped keep the humidity. Seen some pins, hoping for top pins. Yeah, next time try using a proper casing layer. You're going to really like it. B. Jones says, so if you start in a pre-made bag but want to maximize yield, what would someone transfer to a tub? Core. Oh, after grain and sub are completely colonized, or we're breaking it up at that point. So with a pre-made bag, I'm guessing you mean like an all-in-one bag. Usually those are meant to be fruited from the bags themselves. So that's the first thing. The most ideal would be to fruit it from the bag. But otherwise, if you're going to transfer it to a tub, then obviously when it's fully colonized. Fully colonized, put it on a rack or something and keep it misted. It's going to dry out though, it always does. Yeah. Seeing Dow says, I subscribe to your page, but I can't find any poo lover tutorial from jar to harvest. Any suggestions for those of us using Petri dishes? From jar to, I don't know, I got a couple of videos talking about it. At the very least, a process. It's pretty simple. You just put a bunch of compost, at least the simplest form, put it in a bunch of compost, put a vermiculite layer, put it in the can, pressure cook it, and then inject it. That's it. Any suggestions for those of us using glass Petri dishes? Yeah, don't break them and clean them well. Nick Rico says, and also make sure that you don't have any air, like make sure your seal isn't broken or anything like that. Just not letting in contamination because they do have a bigger kind of point of entry. Nick Rico says, also thank you for teaching me the Jiffy Mix casing layer. Question, what percent humidity do you shoot for? I don't know what percent I shoot for. I just keep my eye on the surface conditions. If the surface conditions are good, then it's good. Like forget about meters and stuff because it's really, really simple, common sense stuff. Just focus on the surface conditions. And if you don't know how good surface conditions look, check out my video, proper surface conditions for fruiting. But ideally, it should be close to 100% for core lovers on the surface. Because the thing is, and here's another reason why it's not a good idea to have meters and stuff, is because you're not getting an accurate reading of the substrate surface condition. Because the substrate surface conditions is going to be different from the tub's surface condition, the tub's relative humidity. So that's why it's so important that the substrate has proper conditions. Mauricio says, when adding agar to spawn jars, do you find it best to monitor spawn jar growth by cutting agar pieces in big wedges or many smaller agar pieces? So I tried both, and I ultimately ended up on just going back to the big wedges. Yes, smaller wedges potentially have, well, if done right, will have much faster colonization. That's true. But I also felt that you're also really increasing your chances of contaminants potentially sticking onto it because you've just increased the surface area a bunch of the whole plate, of the whole agar plate, which is crazy, like by magnitudes, if you really think about it. And also, it's a lot harder to successfully put a bunch of small pieces of agar into a jar. Like you might have a stray one, fall off, or maybe, touch the lid and then go inside or something like that. So I just stick to like just big half wedges, usually half to a third wedges per agar jar. Yes, Ty, it is titanium, but that was about an hour ago. So yeah, you're still watching the earlier on in the live stream, but I appreciate you watching. Where are we? Caviar says blue light can also trigger pins. Yes. Lowell Williams says, so no misting period during bulk colonization. Check my proper surface conditions video. Spode says, can core be used as a true casing layer if I have overlay concerns? And if so, wouldn't the mycelium just take it over as well? No, it's not a true casing layer. Yes, the mycelium would take it over because it's core. And a true casing layer, it doesn't take it over fully. Chris says, I was one of those people that bought everything and had no luck until I did your mentorship. There you go. There you go. I can't even remember who it's been, like because I've had so many people in the same shoes and every time they're like super embarrassed. But I'm like, don't be embarrassed. Like, you're just like, there's so many people like that. Becky says, how does a mentorship work? More weekly scheduled appointments with you over Zoom, phone? I'm considering. So basically, yeah, it's voice, primarily a voice service. So it's a minimum of 30 minutes session. You can do 15-minute sessions though, but for example, if you buy like 2 hours of mentorship, then it's like you could do minimum 30-minute blocks up to the whole 2 hours in a session. It's up to you. But yeah, you could, I cater to whatever, you need. Like our first session is getting to know where you're at and what your goals are. And then I cater a plan for you to succeed, and I hold your hand through the whole way, beginning to end. And it's been 100% success rate, and I'm very proud of that. And I've had many dozens of students, I can't even keep track. But I recently started offering text-based mentorship. But what do you say, like cost to, it's like the most convenient if that's what you want, but the most cost effective for you would probably be to, or anyone, is to just do a voice session. Irvin Diaz says, I have seen rumors on the Esmery where natty mycelium consume TAM. Is that possible? Yeah, I do actually have videos on that on MycoSage. No, it did not consume TAM, but it had TAM for a long time, and like serious TAM. It wasn't mold. It was like a huge pool of yeast. It smelled like sweet chocolate. Just a huge pool of yeast. And it was nasty. But it kept fruiting for a long time, and then eventually it did get mold. It did get trike, but it still kept fruiting for some time. But I think all it does is just covers it. It covers the mold. It doesn't fight it or eat it or anything. Dro Dog says, are PF Tech cakes generally pretty contam resistant given the whole thing colonized in a jar then straight to... Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And also just the kind of geography of the whole thing. If you get like bacteria, for example, it sort of isolates itself in one area rather than spreading all over. And you can fruit it usually very successfully still. IOQ fan says, how long does colonized rice last? I've got several Uncle Ben packs, very white looking now. Oh man. Oh, colonize. I would spawn it immediately, but uh, every day after they're fully colonized, they're just wasting energy. I mean, you could wait maybe 2 months. It's gonna have poorer fruiting. Might even contam because it's weaker. But generally, you do it as soon as possible. Hello there, Michael Allen. Fefe says, have you tried ozone maker? No, I do not recommend it. That stuff is dangerous and completely unnecessary. There's much better options out there, much more effective and safe. Agar. Bob Ferris says, just pasteurize 3 jars of poo with straw. Rebecca says, we have a tree that we're not fond of. I was looking at it today and wondering if anything wood-loving would grow. Luigi R says, I didn't know about the mycelium getting weaker while sitting after fully colonized. Yeah, because they're alive, they're eating the grains, they're breathing. Joe Dog says, making my first PF cakes now after losing 4 tubs to Trike. I think the sub I bought was bad. Oh, you bought sub. Yeah, man. Those Master Mix from Midwest. Yeah. Oftentimes vendors, they don't sterilize their stuff properly. 03 also erases pen ink off your labels. That was a rough month. So I've caught up to chat. So just another advertisement for MycoSage. It's only $250 right now. If you use the code AppleLenses at checkout, gain access to 90 videos. I just posted a new one today. So Discord access. Support me. Support yourself. $250, pretty damn cheap. Luigi R says pasteurize or sterilize sub. Depends on the sub and the tech that you're going to use. Bob Ferris says I've used a 50-50 core per your instructions before with good success, so I thought I'd try a little straw. Right on. JC says, how can I make my grow more? Okay, so let's not use the P word. This is like the 5th time today. Instead, let's use the word taste. How can I make my grow more tasty? It seems weak. Genetic work. And maybe add a little bit of gypsum if you haven't already. Antonio Cervantes says, how long can I go without affecting my sinuses while having 8 6-quart tubs rooting in my room? Should I get them out of the room? Yes, get them out of the room. And honestly, your sinuses, I would be more worried about your lungs, because those spores are, it's going to really irritate your lung over time, your lungs. Hopefully your lungs, not your lung. And while we wait for questions, I'm going to get a glass of water. All right, guys, I'm back. I just popped 2 kava candies. So if you hear anything weird, it's because they're just kind of sitting in my gums. B. Jones says, think about it. 250 is so insignificant and how much you'll be spending on everything else. As a matter of fact, it can save you money by reducing mistakes. Yeah, absolutely, B. Jones. It's a crazy deal. Bob Ferris says, pullovers are my favorites. So fast and extra tasty. Absolutely. Justin Langstaff says, hypochlorous acid. When I search HOCL, it brings me to skincare products. What's a good vendor you recommend that ships to the US? So check in the description, man. Check out the supply list that I have on there. And on the supply list, you're going to find a link to the HOCL generator that I recommend, and you're also going to get a discount code. And the reason that you see, and yeah, it is hypochlorous acid. The reason why you see it on skincare products is because it's really good for clearing up your skin. If you have zits and stuff, it's really good for that. Our bodies naturally produce it. It's the stuff your white blood cells produce. So it's good stuff. Antonio says, thank you. How long is too long in my room, you think, for lung health? It really depends on the person. But for me, for example, my lungs have become so much more sensitive since I started this. And it didn't take long. So take care of your lungs. Bob Ferris says, Enoki TTBVI are the best, in my opinion. Yeah, definitely they are very, very tasty. They are actually technically the tastiest. Chris says, just catch them before the veil breaks if you can. Yep. Yeah, that's the ideal way, unless you're trying to make some good thick spore prints. Luigi R says, thinking more about the HOCL in a humidifier, wouldn't that gas off and oxidize sensitive surfaces? Yes. Well, yeah, that's the humidifier, right? I haven't tried the humidifier, so I can't really speak to that. But that will be a concern about the chlorine. Bob Ferris says, did them all by your shoebox tech. Right on. TTBVIs and shoeboxes. We got another TTBVI shoeboxer. Right on. What's up, Minnesota backpacker? Astrofry says, opinion on Broke Boy Tech. All for brown rice. The only thing that I would be not really recommend is steaming it if you can help it. If you got the cash, then get an Instant Pot or a pressure cooker and do it that way. Because I have done side-by-side comparisons of steamed jars and pressure cooked ones, and the pressure cooked ones will never contaminate, but the steam ones, after some time, a lot of them will start contaminating just after a couple of weeks. Wow, I can't believe the time. It's already 9:20 here. So I've caught up to chat, guys. Antonio Cervantes says, I had one flavor, seemed like it didn't drop any spores, and another one and had a bunch of black spores and totally covered everything under it. Yeah, it's genetics. Sometimes I get whole flushes of no spores. It's really, really annoying. JC says, just want to say thank you for all your help. Much love and respect. Cheers, JC. Considering signing up on MycoStage if you haven't. Portobellos. Really chunky portobello core lovers. I mean, this thing is crazy. It's just getting bigger and bigger on the side. My gosh. I dumped everything else, like getting ready to leave, but I couldn't dump these guys. I just couldn't dump these guys because they're too cute and they're coming out, you know. B. Jones, yes. So inquiries in the description, please. On my email, mycophilia.official@gmail.com. Antonio says, how long do dried fruits stay flavorful in a mason jar with desiccant? Years. Rebecca says, I'm so glad that you had a live tonight. Got me out of a never-ending convo. Saved by the bell of you too. No worries, B. Jones. Chris says, when you are taking a subculture from your Agar, do you look for anything specific before doing a transfer? Basically, I look for healthiness and I suppose rigorousness. Like, it really depends on the species. For example, with poo lovers, you want to have like fast, aggressive mycelium, but you don't want it to be too fluffy necessarily. I find because they overlay. I find they have a propensity to overlay more, in my experience. But when, for example, with core lovers, there's really no way to know. So what I do is I just basically try to get a bit of everything onto a plate when I'm starting out anew, you know, from multispore and I'm doing transfers. And I'm trying to get clean transfers, then what I do is just try to get a little bit of everything. And then the culture work comes with cloning. That's the primary means that I do culture work, if I do any, is through cloning. Because it's like you get the proof and then you take the pudding. You know what I mean? Like you get the proof and then you get the pudding. You don't get the pudding. It doesn't make any sense, actually. That's terrible. But yeah, like because there's nothing that correlates the way mycelium looks on AR plates for the most part. There's always exceptions to how it's actually going to fruit, you know. Where was it? Minnesota Backpacker says, anyone who have not dipped their toes into Sage's community, I do recommend giving him a little support and checking out his video vault and Discord. There's a lot of great information to be had. Thank you, Minnesota Backpacker. I really appreciate that. Mason Barnard says, thoughts on erythritol enriched substrates. I'm not really too big. I'm not really too keen on what you call it, on supplements, substrate supplements. I'm mostly just to keep it simple as possible type of guy. Erythritol was all the rage a couple of years ago. Everybody was talking about erythritol. I'm getting all this, and then after a while, like there's this Like you barely hear that word anymore. And that pretty much tells me all I really need to know. Like if it was such a great, if it has such great effects, then I feel like it would have already like caught on much more than it has. Now I will say gypsum has actually does have proof now that it actually does increase, sorry, increase the taste quantity, the flavonoid content. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not aware of any particular studies that have said that it's good. In terms of anecdotal stuff, I have heard like really varying. Some people say it does, some people say it doesn't. Who knows whether it's placebo or if it's actually, like I'm sure some of it is, some of it isn't. But without real tests, we really can't tell. Bob Ferris says the wifey, bracket assistant mycologist, and I will now be thinking about you while you're gone, hanging there like a hair in a biscuit, bro. Much love. Holla at you when you get back. Good night, bro. Hey, thank you, Bob. Thank you so much, and to your wife as well. That's really kind of you. Again, I will try to do a live stream, but it's probably gonna be, I don't know. Never say never. Hopefully, like within a week, I might find some time or something, but who knows. But thank you. Luigi says, Amania muscanita. Antonio says, how far away from your station do you place the air filter? I notice different conditions on the surface of my shoeboxes with varying length. I don't use an air filter. But basically, if you have any kind of air movement in your room, then it's going to dry out your stuff way quicker than if you didn't. Even if you have like a small air circulator, it really, really dries everything out. Tripwire is from Australia. What's up, Tripwire? How's it going? Glad you like the channel. So I've caught up the chat again. Gosh, I love kava so much. Nathan H says, what kind of agar dishes do you buy? I don't buy pre-made agar if that's what you're asking, but I do buy obviously disposable agar plates. Oh, I don't buy either glass or PP5. I buy the disposable classic ones, the plastic bad for the environment ones, because those are ultimately the most effective at the end of the day. The most convenient, I should say. It's got the best visibility. It doesn't break. If you drop it, oh yeah, I just said it doesn't break. Antonio says, thoughts on peptones in addition to agar? I don't mess with it. I just do light malt extract, water, and agar. Never let me down. Like with agar, I don't like. Agar is not the thing that you want to be putting your energy into. Agar is for a very specific set of purposes. But the end goal here is good fruits, lots of fruits, maybe cool genetic expressions, those kinds of things. So, agar is just a means to an end. So I just stick to the simplest, most very effective, all-purpose agar, and it's fine. Chris says, I put a small air purifier in my room and it completely dried everything out on one freaking day. Exactly. It's deceptive because they're small, but even just a little bit of airflow, it just really dries it out. Mr. Tubbs and Boom, Bruise Blue. So just think about I just thought about it, but think about how much like that affects your skin, how much that dries out your skin all the time, especially with like heaters, space heaters. Like you could actually get like scabs, like permanent scabs on your body. It's kind of an off point, but yeah, it's kind of crazy how something so small can affect so much. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna be leaving soon. Luigi R says, getting the membership to show you love while I got you here. Appreciate it, man. I will shout you out when I get the notification. Lowell Williams says, Jay watched proper surface conditions video. Just to clarify, even though my substrate is about 10% colonized. Oh, it's only 10% colonized. I should be misting the surface to achieve the tiny water level. If it's only 10%, then no. Just wait for it. ¿Qué pasa, Pandalorian? So Lowell Williams, I mean, it really depends on how dry it is as well. Like if it's really dry, but if it's not really dry, then I would just leave it and just wait for it to be fully colonized and then start checking the surface conditions. Nathan says, how should I inoculate something with a spore swab other than Agar? That's why I'm trying to figure all this out. That's tough, man. Without Agar, I mean, it's pretty much the only way that's really advisable. I mean, for example, you could take the spore swab and try to dilute it in some water and then put it in a syringe, I suppose. But yeah. Luigi, welcome aboard to the Mycophiles tier. Thank you for your support, and I hope you enjoy the videos on there. I put a lot of work curating that, so I think it's a pretty cool space that you'll enjoy. And don't forget to check out the you could also fill out a form on the level 2 members area to give you a special Discord role, which is going to give you access to a special Discord, only paid supporters only channel. Minnesota Backpacker says, I just found out today that chaga is considered sclerotia, and it blew my mind because that seems so obvious. Oh, I had no idea, actually. I had no idea that was the case. That's cool. What up, Croaky? Tank Stank says, you, the guy, Sage, learned so much from you. Cheers, Tank Stank. Chris says, I thought I would speed things up with evaporation, but made it worse. Yeah, too much evaporation, for sure. Arami Rodriguez says, do you mess with rehydrate for the second flush? 6-course shoebox. I've been just getting one good flush, then tossing and starting a fresh box. Well, it really depends on the yield of the first flush. If you only got like, 15 grams, 20 grams, there's still a lot more juice left in there. Yo, what's up, Ben? Big up Mycophiles, love and respect. Good to see you, Ben. Appreciate it, Nathan. I'm glad to hear that. What's up, Dr. 420? Dr. 420 says, give it a like to keep the trike away. 100%. JC says, can you overhydrate in water at recommended temp and tide? Yes, you can certainly overhydrate. Over temp and time for what? Antonio says, is it game over if my shoeboxes are covered in spores? No, it's not. It's not game over at all. They are fine. You're good. Cassie says, what's the most common mistakes for newbies? Ooh, there's a lot. There's a lot. Trying to take shortcuts. Trying to take the seemingly easy way out. That never works. It always adds months to your timeline. Mixing and matching information from other people, other techs. It's also a cause for concern. If you're going to follow a tech, then follow that one tech or one person the whole process through until you get a hang of it and understand how things fit together. And Chris says, not doing a mentorship. That is great. If you have the means, the mentorship is literally the most easiest way to do it, because I'm going to hold your hand. I'm going to tell you everything, and we're going to go through it. 100% success rate, not even joking. I mean, I'm not joking otherwise when I talk, but just the manner of speech. Because it does piss me off when people like, genuinely. It's like, what? So you're not being genuine the rest of the time? But that's just a pet peeve, which I just kind of, did the same. But what else is there? Other mistakes. I think those are the two main ones. Basically being impatient and trying to take shortcuts and trying to be cheap. Those are the biggest mistakes. I've tried to start this hobby over the years a couple of times, and the only time I had success was when I did as much research as I can. I followed one guy's write-ups, all of his write-ups, and I purchased all the stuff that's needed. So I got a pressure cooker, I got all the jars, I got all the materials. I wasn't trying to be cheap. I got all the stuff that I needed, put my head down, learned it, and then boom, no problem. But every time before that, I was trying to, half-ass it, and I was getting no results at all. Nathan says, so true. Do not try taking shortcuts. Yeah. Luke says, how many grams dry is standard for a 66 quart tub preparing for my first grow? Oh, quite a bit, hundreds of grams at least. Hundreds of grams. It really depends, how well your grow goes. There's no real set figure. Lowell says, love what you do. I've learned so much from your channel currently on my first attempt and everything is going smooth. Shout out to you. Keep it up. Cheers, man. Best of luck. Drew Dog says, what sub do you use for core lovers? Do you have a sub prep video on the mycophiles? I bucket checked my CVG and also instant potted for 3 hours just to be. I used to have a video on my old channel. I don't think I have one on. No, I don't. I definitely don't have one on the mycophiles. Yeah, but in the Mushroom Mastery series, it's gonna be the next episode, I believe. Droid Dog says, oh yeah. So let me help you out with the question. So basically, okay, so this is how you do it. Okay, so you take a brick of cocoa core, measure it out. Usually it's 600 to 650 grams. Each brick is gonna be different, but within that ballpark, hopefully. Sometimes I've had actually like down to 570 grams. But this is important because you're gonna need to multiply that dried amount by 5 to get the milliliter amount of water you're gonna need to hydrate it, so that it's not too hydrated and it's not too little hydrated. It's not hydrated enough, I should say. So you just take I'd like to use an ice cooler, like an igloo ice cooler, like an insulated cooler. And you could also use a box, or you could use a 5-gallon bucket with a lid, but make sure that it's PP5 because some of them will start melting because we're going to be pouring boiling water in there with your agar. So mix those two things together, mix the hot water, mix the cocoa core. You want the water to be fully boiling. Close the lid, wait 24 hours, mix it up, disperse the water because you might have some hot spots where it's not dried, when it's still dried. And then you're good to use it, you're good to go. That's all. Oh, you already said I bucket checked my CVG and also instant potted for 3 hours just to be said. I mean, that's pretty overkill, but yeah, go for it. It shouldn't hurt anything. JC says time and temp when dehydrating your fruit. 24 hours at 160. Check out the video, proper storage and dehydration. It's well worth the watch. Luigi says, I will watch them all. I've seen all your videos for the past 8 months. Awesome. Thanks for all your resources, man. Your passion is shared by many. I'm following your tech the whole way. Awesome, Luigi. Glad to hear that, man, and I hope you keep watching. Arami says, I'm getting semi-canopy. I'm satisfied with harvest. Just seems easier. Just keep flow of shoe boxes and not tying up space in boxes. Right on. Pandalorian says, the way of the Pam cannot be half-assed. Yep. Absolutely. Cassie says, what's the pressure cooker for? To sterilize your grains. Some dumb guy says, what? There's honestly so much to learn and don't try to learn it once. Yeah. What's up, Adam? Rebecca says, I follow 3 mycologists, but I learned the minimum basics from one, got a first harvest, and decided that I needed more because the first person was shut down. I kind of dropped your link, and here I am. Welcome aboard. Antonio Cervantes says, if my shoeboxes If my boxes hardly get sunlight like a garage or closet, will they have issues colonizing for fruiting? No, not really. But if it's got like no light, then I would just put a light in there, any light, up top preferably, so that they know where to grow towards, so your fruits are not going to be all weird. Minnesota Backpacker says, you ever delve into cacti cultivation at all? Yeah, I got 3 San Pedros, but I just like leave them there and let them do their thing. I've just had them for a couple of years. They just keep growing bigger and bigger, and that's it, you know. But I'm not like grafting or doing all that kind of things or like crossing them or anything like that. Unfortunately, I'm not in the right place to be doing that. I don't have the space or the right environment to be doing it, fortunately. Yeah, only PC Minnesota Backpacker. Unfortunately, so I'm not gonna be eating it or anything like that. It's just and honestly, like I can't imagine, like even if they weren't PC, I can't imagine cutting it down because I watched them grow all these years. I don't want to cut them down, you know. But I guess like if you got like a ton of them, sure, take a limb here, take a limb there. Well, ladies and gents, I think I'm gonna call it a night, guys. I'm gonna take it easy, and I will see you guys on the flip side, hopefully soon. Nathan says, after this live, I have the new video in the video vault to watch. Awesome. It's a little bit about the JCM chamber and ATL number 7. Cheers, guys. Thank you, thank you. And thank you for everybody who's dropped me a PayPal donation. Special shout out to Chris again. Thank you, man. Always. It's super generous and super helpful. And I will see you guys next time. Much love.